The following is my conversation with AJ Gindi of Renewal. Renewal is an incredibly vital organization combating kidney failure on the front lines, facilitating life-saving kidney transplants while strongly advocating for both recipients and donors. Renewal is a perfect example of the Jewish community coming together to combat a global epidemic. In my conversation with AJ, we talked about his unique and personal relationship with Renewal, his role today as community advocate, and as community advocate, what the future holds for Renewal.
Hi, good morning, and thank you everybody for tuning in. I have the distinct honor of sitting here in the beautiful home of AJ Gindi, representing the incredible organization Renewal. This is a really unique organization, and I firmly believe and I hope that our listeners will find some inspiration, some insight, and hear an interesting story of an incredible organization doing really, really unique and vital things in the Jewish community and beyond. So, AJ, thank you very much for agreeing to sit down.
Pleasure to have you here.
Why don't you take me all the way back to the beginning, the very early days of Renewal, where you came in, your relationship, and how that took us to today.
Okay, so Renewal started back in 2006, which is way before I got involved. I got involved in 2014, and how did I get involved? By being a kidney donor in 2013. Renewal started, the way the story goes, from what I've heard many times over, that the founder, Mendy Reiner, was approached by somebody that was in need of a kidney. Now, back in the day, 2006, there was basically two ways you got a kidney. Number one, you're on a hospital list. You waited for someone to get hit by a bus. You hope they had checked off on their driver's license they want to be a kidney donor, and you got a kidney from that person, if you happen to match them, and if you happen to get to the hospital in time, because the way that it works, which is really insane, they have 3 potential matches for that kidney. They call all 3 people. Whoever gets to the hospital first gets the kidney. The kidney has a shelf life of about 20 hours from the time of the accident to the time they have to put it in. So they got to get somebody there fast. So it's a miracle that people don't get into accidents just to get to the hospital to get there on time.
I'm sorry to cut you off. There's 3 people waiting for every kidney. That's the way it used to be?
There's more than 3 people.
That's incredible.
But they have over the 3 that match the best. Those are the ones that get the call. And I don't know why it's always on Shabbos that they get the call.
Of course.
And it's a great story that I'll tell you in a little while about a lady that got a call on Shabbos. But in any case, so that's the way it was back in the day. You ran to the hospital, you hope you got there first, and you hope it was a good match. Unfortunately, when a kidney goes through the trauma of death, when the guy dies, so that kidney died with the person. The kidney didn't stay alive, the kidney died. So now they're going to bring that kidney back to life, so to speak, and then they're going to put that in somebody. So they only have 20 hours that kidney is viable to be put back into somebody. It's not going to last as long as a live donor. And that's one of the downsides of a cadaver donor, someone that died. The other way is that people went overseas. Somehow they found an agent and they got it overseas. So he was approached back in the day that somebody needed a kidney and they would go one of these 2 routes. If he could help them, you know people, maybe you can help us raise some money, maybe you can help us get involved. So he came back and he told his wife the story. He saw somebody in shul. Came back, told his wife the story, and she says, why don't you do something for this guy? Put an ad in the Jewish press. Father of 6, in need of a kidney, type blood O, whatever his type is, and put it out there. See what happens. See what he got to lose.
This is in 2006.
2006. Sure enough, he put an ad in the paper, and within a few days, he got 30 people responded, I'll give you my kidney to help this guy.
Holy smokes. And
one of them actually matched. He said, wow, this is incredible. I can't believe it. If I do 1 a year, 2 a year, I save 2 people's lives a year, it'd be phenomenal. And then he put a reverse ad. I have 30 kidneys. If you need one, call me. Maybe I have a match. And that's where Renewal started.
That's so clever. Identifying that there was a donor, there was a recipient, but also that you had a database of donors at that point.
Right, exactly.
And pairing the 2 together.
It's phenomenal.
So where do you come in?
So then in 2013, I became what they call the mystery donor. They don't know how I got into the system. They don't know how it happened. And it's a cute story. If we have time for a story, I'll tell you a cute story how this whole thing happened. In my community, there was a young girl that passed away. Her name was Stella Liniato. She died at the age of 14. She needed a bone marrow transplant. and they couldn't find a good match, and she died. So our community decided, you know what, we're many of the people from the Middle East, let's make our own database. So in case this ever happens in our community again, we'll have our own database of 30, 40,000 people that we can try to test.
Right.
So in the summertime, which is very, very busy in the Deal area, before every event, every week there's an event by someone's house for a certain charity, whatever it might be. They decided, you know what, we're going to set up a table, and people will come there, they'll do a cotton swab test, and we'll build our own database. Okay. So I was going to an event on one Sunday, and there was a table there, and they said, "Oh, Mr. Gindi, you want to do it? Would you want to swab?" I said, "Okay, I'll swab." You know, I'm put 3 people on a line. I said, "You know what? I'm not going to say no. Everybody's going to say yes."
Right.
So I swabbed. Sure enough, about 6 months later, maybe 5 or 6 months later, I got a phone call. You know, you did a swab test for bone marrow. You happen to be a match. Do you want to do it? I said, "Can you please explain to me what it means to be a bone marrow donor? What does it mean? I have no idea what it means." They said, "Well, there's 2 different ways you do it. First, it's done in Boston, and there's 2 different ways to do it. One is they can actually scrape the marrow off your bone." I said, "Well, that sounds painful. That sounds very painful."
Yeah.
Or they'll hook you up to a machine, like a dialysis machine. They take the blood out of your system, extract the marrow from it, put the blood back into your system, and you'll reproduce bone marrow. And from that, they can transplant that to the person.
And the healthy marrow that they pulled out would go
Right. I said, "Okay, that sounds like a good idea. I'll do that."
a lot less scraping.
A lot less scraping. I'm more into that, for sure. Let's do that. So they scheduled me for a date, and a few months later, and then about 2 weeks before that transplant was supposed to happen, they said, "We're sorry to tell you the recipient is not well enough to do the transplant. We're putting you on hold. We'll keep you in touch." I said, "Okay, fine." Put it out of my mind. It was over. Roll the clock forward another few months later, I get a phone call from Renewal. "Hello, Mr. Gindi. Yes, we have a potential match for you for a kidney donation. Would you want to donate your kidney?"
And you hadn't swabbed for a kidney.
I said, "Okay, that sounds like a nice thing to do. Tell me how it works. What do you have to do?" "Well, you're going to get a phone call from Cornell Hospital. They'll call you down. You go for an evaluation. In the meantime, we're going to send you a blood kit. And from that blood kit, we can get all of your antibodies, and we can see if you're a good enough match for this person." I said, "Okay, fine. Send me the blood kit." So they sent me a little white box. And I'll tell you the truth, the box came into my house. I put it on the shelf, and I forgot about it.
Wow.
I forgot about it. Got busy. I was working, whatever it might have been. I forgot about the box. 2 weeks later, I got a phone call again from Renewal. "Hello, Mr. Gindi." I said, "Yes, it's me. It's Renewal." They said, "Oh, how are you?" She said, "You know, we sent you that box. Did you ever get it?" I said, "Oh, yes, you're right. It's my toaster. I had the box." She goes, "Please go to LabQuest. There's a LabQuest in your area. Here's the directions. Go there. There's a script in the box. They know exactly what to do with it. Just go there and give you blood." I said, "Okay." I went to LabQuest, gave them the box, took my blood, sent it in. 3 weeks later, 4 weeks later, I got a call from Renewal. "You're a good match. You ready to do the transplant?" I said, "Okay." She said, "Okay, we're going to send you for an evaluation. You need to go to the hospital. They evaluate you." And I always tell people whenever I speak, if you want to get the best physical you've ever received in your life for free, no charge, say you want to be a kidney donor.
Right.
They do an EKG, a CAT scan, a body scan, a blue dye test. They do a psychological test.
It's like sending your car into the mechanic.
Yeah, it's better than mechanics. Like sending it in for a total cleanup. I mean, they do everything to check you out from head to toe. And I came back with a good report, thank God. And one of the tests I had to go through was a psychological test. They send you through with a psychologist. And her job, thank God, my cousin who did a transplant before me, a few years before me, told me this: when you go to that psychological test, their job is to break you. They want to break you. They want to see if you're really headstrong, that you want to do this, or you just got emotionally involved and you want to do it, then you're going to regret it later on. And you want to make
You were pressured into it in some way.
You're pressured into it, you're getting paid. So I said, okay, so I was a little bit prepared for this test. So I go to the hospital and I did all the testing. And the last one is I'm going to meet the psychologist. And she said, "Hello, how are you? So how much are you getting paid?" I said, "Getting paid? Nobody mentioned anything about money. Is money here?" She said, "Why would you want to give your kidney to a stranger you don't even know? Go under the knife. You have a chance of dying if you're not getting paid." I said, "Well, I'm an Orthodox Jew, and I believe that you don't get paid here. I'm going to get paid in the next world. I believe in God, and I'm going to get paid later. There's no payment over here."
Right.
She said, "Oh, okay, that's a good answer. That's a very good answer. But what about your children?" I said, "My children? What do my children have to do with this?" She said, "No, if you give away your kidney, and then one of your kids need a kidney later on, you gave away a kidney that could save your kid's life."
Wow.
I said, that's a very good question. I didn't think about my kids, but I believe in God. I believe if I do a good deed, God will protect my children. They'll never need a kidney.
Right.
Very good. That's another good answer she told me. And my wife, who was sitting with me, she says, okay, forget your children. How about your wife? She really wanted to make it. My wife's right there now.
Right.
Now, what are you going to say?
Put you on the spot.
They put me on the spot. So my wife says, I wanted to do this. This is something that he lives to do for other people. I was the president of Bikur Khalim in the area here for 6 years. I was president of the shul for 20 years. And I really have dedicated myself to my community and helping Jews at large. He wants to do it. He's going to do it. She says, okay, you passed the test. You're good to go. So I called back Renewal. They got the results that everything else passed. It was a good match. I said, can you just work around my schedule? I have to be in January. I have to be in Florida I was working for Yeshiva at that time. I was running a golf tournament for them. I said, in March, I need to be in Israel for a bar mitzvah for my nephew. Can we do it in February? She said, we'll work around your schedule, whatever you want. And that's one thing Renewal does. They work totally around the donor. Whatever is good for you, if you're a Rebbe and you want off in the summertime, you want to do it in the summer, you can't do it during the year, whatever's good for you, they're going to work around your schedule. And sure enough, my transplant date was set for February 5th. February 5th, 2013 is the day that changed my life forever. So I get to the hospital, and Renewal the whole time is saying, we'll send somebody to pick you up, we'll bring you to the hospital, we'll take you for all your tests. I said, I'm good, I'm a big boy, I don't need you to pick me up for the hospital, I don't need you to pick me up for the testing, I got my wife, we'll go together. Hey, it's one favor if you can you just give me a hotel room in the city the night before, because I need to be there 5:30 in the morning.
Right.
And I don't want to drive from Jersey to the city, leave my house 4 o'clock in the morning, I'm going to be exhausted. If you give me a hotel room in the city, I would really appreciate that. And sure enough, right next to the hospital, maybe 3 or 4 blocks away, they got me a hotel. I checked out 5 o'clock in the morning, and I walked with my wife to the hospital. I get to the hospital, and I'm getting prepped to put the garb on, the blue with the thing around my head and on my slippers, and the whole thing. I'm standing there ready to go.
Right.
And sure enough, David Shisha, who works for the organization, walks into the door. He gets transplants. He's always there early. Tzaddik of a man, wants to be there at the time when the donor's there. When the donor doesn't really know what's happening, he wants to give the guy assurance. Hey, we're here with you. We're not leaving you alone.
Some sort of hand-holding, a friendly face.
Exactly, a friendly face. But I never saw anybody, so I didn't know who he was.
Right.
So he comes in, and he walks into the room, and I see a guy with payas, a beard. So I thought probably he was the clergy from the hospital. I heard here there's a Jew in the hospital having a surgery. So go see the guy, give the guy a couple words of chizuk, whatever you have to tell the guy. So he walks into the room. And I say, wow, you're from the hospital? You here to give me a bracha? He said, no, I'm with Renewal. I said, oh, Renewal, you with Renewal. Very nice. Thank you so much for coming. Very nice of you to come. He said, how's everything go? He said, the hotel was perfect. I'm feeling good to do this. He goes, you want to meet the recipient? I said, I can meet the recipient. That's great. Wow, that's unbelievable. Because I'm going to go next door. He's in the room next door. I'm going to go bring him in. So just one thing. Let me just step back. One thing I want to tell you. And this is something that they tell the donor, they tell the recipient, and that is that at the transplant, anytime until you're actually out, you can back out. You're on the gurney, going into the OR, and you say, you know what, I'm getting second thoughts, I'm getting cold feet, my stomach is I can't do this. Just get up, put your clothes on, and walk out the door. You have no obligation. You're totally volunteering yourself to do this for somebody else. You have zero obligation. Get up and walk out. And they tell the recipient the same thing. You should know that your donor is coming voluntarily. He's giving a part of his body to you. If he decides to back out 2 seconds before they put the anesthesia on him and he wants to get out, he's out. And you cannot say a word to him. So they tell that to the recipient as well. Okay, now let's go back to where I was in the story. Because you want to meet him? I said, great, bring him in. So he brings him in. I say the man was standing, he was there with his wife. Ashkenaz guy. I'm a Sephardi guy. Never saw this guy in my life. He was from Queens. I live in New Jersey. Didn't know him. Never met him. And he's standing by the door. And I'd say I was about 10 or 15 feet away from where he was. And as he's standing there, like he's starting to sweat a little bit. He's meeting the guy that's saving his life.
Right.
And I tell David, I said, something, those con swabs are unbelievable. They really work. What con swab? What are you talking about? I said, the con swab, the test that I took. I went to the event. I took a test, and I said, no, we don't do con swabs. I said, you don't do con swabs? So, what do you mean? How'd you get me here? Where'd you get my name? How'd you find me? I took a colon swab test for somebody for bone marrow, and then I figured they gave you my information, and then you cross-matched me for a kidney.
That's all you did?
They said, no, we don't do colon swabs. I said, 1 second. Now, this guy is starting to sweat. This guy, I can see sweat dripping out his face. His wife is sweating. This guy's backing. He's like, this donor's backing out. I said, listen, I looked at the guy. I said, I don't know who you are. I don't know your name. I'm going to do this. I just want to know how they got me in this room. He goes, no, you probably went online. You filled out a form and you wanted to donate. I said, I never heard your organization. I never went online. Never heard of Renewal. I don't know who you are. I got a phone call from you that I matched somebody. How'd you get me? So they put me in their book as a mystery donor. His wife, Molly, came running at my wife, charging like a bull, and gave her the biggest hug, almost crushed three of her ribs. Says, your husband's a malach. He's a malach. Hashem sent a malach down to this room to save my husband's life. To say, he doesn't even know how he got in here. He doesn't know where they found him. He came as a malach to save my husband's life. I can't believe it. Look what you're married to. You think a person's on dialysis. A dialysis keeps a person alive. They say the statistics are, after 5 years, 70% of the people are no longer in the world, which means it's a clock ticking backwards. It's going to keep you alive until, if you're lucky, to find a donor. After 10 years, 90% of the people are no longer alive. It's not a way to live for anybody, first of all. On a machine where your blood is being cleaned every single day, 3 times a week, 4 hours a day. If you have a job, you can't work. How are you going to go to work? After that, you're fatigued. And if you're a housewife, how are you taking care of your children? It's physically impossible. And the guy's in a room with a bunch of other people. And if he sees an empty chair, that means that patient is gone.
Right.
Died. There's many people there missing limbs, because one of the major causes of kidney failure is diabetes. And diabetes causes the loss of limbs. And it's so depressing. And you're wondering,
there's got to be a better way.
How am I going to get out of here? My family doesn't match. I have nobody testing for me.
It's a hopeless feeling.
Is this my life?
Right.
And how much more time do I have? I've been to people's houses. I've been called to people's houses because they told me, you need to speak to my husband. He refuses to go back to dialysis. He's not going. He'd rather die. He'd rather die. First of all, they say that it's like fire running through your blood. The machine, when it's filtering out the blood.
Physically, it's painful.
Some people must be. To other people, it's a total wipeout. You can't function after that.
Right.
I guess it's similar to like going through chemo, that you can't function after that for some time. But you're chained to this machine 3 days a week. Either it's Monday, Wednesday, Friday, or Tuesday, Thursday, Shabbos. No matter what, you got to be on that. You're not in the shul on Shabbat. You're on a machine. Right. If Yom Kippur falls on your day, you're on a machine. Rosh Hashanah falls on your day, you're on a machine. There's no going to someone's house for Sukkot to have a meal. You're on a machine. You are locked into this machine. Not a way for anyone to live. Not a way for anyone to live. So I can imagine what's going through this guy's head. Where's my Yeshua coming from? And then you get somebody in a room that doesn't know how he got there. How can I look up and say, thank you?
Right.
Thank you. That's how I got involved with Renewal. And then after that point, I said, you know what? That feeling was so uplifting.
You want to be a part of it.
I want to do it again and again. And if you speak to any donor, you should have a lot of, what it is, we have 1,200 donors, 1,160, whatever number, doing 3 transplants today. 3 transplants are happening today.
Literally today.
Today, 3 transplants are happening today. But we have over 1,000, 1,100 and change donors. You think about it, each one has the same thing. The only thing I regret is I can't do it again.
It's incredible.
I can't do it again. And then after that, I said, I got to get involved with this organization. I got to get them. I want to do more transplants. When I first got involved, they were doing 20, 30 a year. I think they peaked at 40-something a year. And last year, we did 133.
133 kidney
133.
Successful kidney transplants.
133 successful kidney transplants. And that's even just the tip of the iceberg.
And the donors are okay. The recipients are
okay. God, everybody's doing well.
That's unbelievable. I want to take a little bit of a detour because you touched on something that I wanted to get to. Does Renewal put an emphasis on, obviously within the realms of people's comfort level and all of that, but is there an emphasis made to offer the recipient and the donor to meet?
We always will allow them to meet. Sometimes it's a little bit emotional. They both have the option. The donor, we've had many donors many, many donors that say, I don't want to meet the recipient. Let me just do what I have to do.
Right.
I don't want to thank you. I don't want any type of reward here. Not even a thank you. I want to just give and go home.
I'll tell you why I asked that, and it's funny that you mentioned the reward component. In a previous episode, we talked with an organization called Neshama, the Neshama Foundation. And what they do is they advocate and they are at the forefront of combating cremation. They help people get a kosher Jewish burial who otherwise would not. And something that was unique that stood out in my research and my conversation with them was they're dealing not even primarily, exclusively with people who died. Their clients are no longer alive.
Can never say thank you.
They will never have that chance.
Right.
And this is the exact 180 of that. This is the exact opposite, where donor and recipient are often one room apart. And there's that.
They're right next to each other.
And if they both agree, they can literally have the chance to shake hands. They can maintain a relationship even thereafter. With my recipient, Mitch Bornstein, I've been to his weddings of his children. It's got to be the most surreal.
Something that he would not have been to. He would not have been to the wedding of his children.
For sure.
He wouldn't have been there.
And Renewal facilitating not only obviously the delivery and the donor and the recipient of a kidney, but the relationship thereafter is something that's incredible. It's got to be incredibly moving.
And we'll tell the donor that wants to just walk away. I said, really, if you want to walk away, you can walk away, but you need to let that person say thank you.
Right.
He can't carry that. It's asking him to carry too much on himself. How can he not say thank you to you? Just let him say thank you. Just let him shake your hand, or whatever it might be. You have to let him do that.
So what does AJ Gindi and Renewal today look like?
So today, I'm what they call the community advocate. I advocate for people that need. I go to different communities. I'll meet certain people, and I'll follow them through the steps of getting transplanted. At the same token, I'm raising money for the organization, which the budget continues to grow. When I first got involved, I think our budget was maybe $800,000 or $900,000 a year, and now we're up to almost 5.6, 5.53, 5.6 in that area, and it's going to continue to grow because the more we do more transplants, the more money we need to do them. We don't get any money from the government. Right. We don't want any money from the government.
The funds that are raised, though, are not exclusively for the transplant. There's a lot of, if I recall correctly, you do everything that you can. Renewal does everything that they can to make things easy and convenient for the donor. If I recall correctly, I mean, you mentioned they put you up in a hotel. They make things simple for you. They put everything.
We take care. Whatever a donor could think of that might be an obstacle is taken care of.
Right.
You know what? If I want to donate my kidney, now my wife has to take care of me. I have 3 kids at home. In the summertime, I got to send them to camp. No problem. It's taken care of.
That's unbelievable.
If a guy's coming from L.A., we just had a guy that donated his kidney. We had to fly him from New York to L.A. It was a week before Pesach. We had to fly him there. And he ended up having to stay in L.A. for Passover because the hospital wanted to monitor him for another week after that. So he flew his entire family to Passover, filled up the hotel. We took care of with all the food that he needed. And we took care of every possible expense, a car, whatever he needed was taken care of. He had a free vacation while he was in L.A. with his entire family. But you know what? We saved a life.
You can't put a price tag on that.
We'll take care of, reimburse the wages. Guys that have worked for 2 weeks, how much you make? Give us your paycheck. We'll reimburse you for your wages. Somebody needs a nanny to take care of their children at all, whatever it is, we'll take care of the kids. You want to go away for a few days after the transplant. You can't take the hustle and bustle of the household. You got coming back to
some sort of recovery.
We'll send you away.
And that's, if I heard you correctly, that's closing in on $6 million a year.
Yeah.
That's unbelievable.
Besides, we do events.
Right.
Somebody needs a kidney, we'll fly out to Seattle, we'll fly out to L.A., fly out to Detroit, Texas, wherever it is. Right now, thank God, but that's another one of the steps that we've done since I was involved. We used to be just like a local mom and pop store. People from Brooklyn, from New Jersey, a few cases from Connecticut, 1 or 2 from Philadelphia, from like the tri-state area. Now we're doing transplants across America. And not only are we doing them across America, in the old days, you had to fly here to New York. So recipient lived in L.A., you got to come to New York, you have to have a place to stay for 2 or 3 months, because the hospital wants you to be here for that time period.
Right.
They want to monitor the kidney. You have to go back and forth to the hospital twice a week. So they want to make sure that you're here to do that. You can't go to, if you're going back home, if you're in LA and you're getting a transplant in Colombia, you can't come to the hospital every 2 weeks. You're not going to fly back twice a week. You're not going to fly back. They want you to be here.
Right.
So it was a big cumbersome for the recipient to come, find a new dialysis center in the meantime, while you're here, while you're testing, find a place to stay. So right now we're doing transplants where they are. We'll come out to LA. We've opened up with almost, I think, 31 different transplant centers across America. You no longer have to come here. We're now going out to you.
Right. On that note, what practically what is the difference in Renewal's approach versus the traditional database of a hospital? Like you mentioned at the beginning of our conversation, when somebody is sitting in a hospital waiting for a kidney.
Okay, so let me explain to you what happens. A regular person needs a kidney. He's going to go to the hospital. He's going to register with the hospital. The hospital is going to put him on what they call the NKR, the National Kidney Registry, which has 100,000 people on that list.
Constantly.
That's yeah.
They're either taken off because they received the kidney or because they died.
Exactly right. So we had somebody that was a donor. Not too long ago, a few months ago, he was a donor. And he was also involved, somehow he knew people from the NKR. And he was a donor through our system. And he says, I can't believe the way you guys took care of me. From taking me to every appointment, taking care of my wages, taking care of getting me help, because he lived alone, getting me help to take care of myself when I was sick. I cannot believe I was telling the NKR what you did. And they said, this is incredible. Can you please get a Zoom meeting with the people that took care of you? So he called me up and says, the NKR wants to talk to you. Is that okay? Can we get a Zoom meeting? I said, sure. So he sets up a Zoom meeting. So you got a picture of the scene. You know the way Zoom is, all the different pictures on the screen. And I'm on the Zoom meeting with Moshe Guritz, I think Josh Sturm, 2 other people from our organization were there. And he has 6 women from the NKR. So he's the one he's hosting this meeting. He said, okay, we're going to go around the room. Everybody, please introduce yourself. And this way we get to know who we are. So one lady gets on. She goes, hi, my name is Barbara. I take care of Northern Pennsylvania. I said, hi, Barbara, nice to meet you. Next one says, hi, my name is Sharon. I take care of Southern Pennsylvania. I said, Sharon, nice to meet you. I'm Gloria. I take care of Eastern Pennsylvania. My name is Rebecca. I do Western Pennsylvania. Another one says I do fundraising for Northern Pennsylvania. Another one says I do fundraising for Southern Pennsylvania. I said, ladies, very nice to meet you. My name is AJ Gindi. I do America, South America, Israel, and Canada.
That's amazing.
Wow. What does that mean? How do you find all the donors? We have a database, almost 3,000 donors ready to go. I think we have the largest database in the world of people that are ready to donate. From what I heard, the NKR has 240, 250 people in America ready to donate.
Trying to chip away at a list of 100,000 people.
Right. And we have 3,000, currently over 3,000 that are ready. And now she says, how do you do it? How is it possible you can have so many people on your database? I said, it's a very simple solution. If you can convert the world to Judaism, you have no problem. The Jews will do anything to save another Jewish life.
Unbelievable.
You're blown away.
The ratio of donor to recipient as it stands today.
Okay, so it's a good question, because you would say, well, if you have so many donors, there should be no waiting list.
Right. Well, there's the match.
This match. So the situation is that only 30% of the people that want to donate make it to the finish line. So 70% of those people that came forward, they said they wanted to donate, for one reason or another, they're going to either fall out, or they're going to have a medical issue on themselves that they cannot be a donor.
Right.
We already have one sick person, the recipient. The donor is put through such intensive testing to make sure they're 100% healthy that if you extract the kidney from them, their life's not going to change at all. So only 30% of the people actually get through all that testing. So if we have 3,000 people, so we'll have, let's say, out of 3,000, that gives us 1,000 people, 900 people that are actually good donors. And from those 900 people, you want to find the best possible match. You're not just looking to just take a kidney and put it
trying to fill up a box.
That's exactly right. You want to have the best possible match. So that takes time. Right now, from the time someone walks in the door to the time that they get a kidney, it's under a year. You want to ask me where we want to be 5-10 years from now?
Yeah.
I want to have it done within a few months. From the time that they come in, my database, our database, Renewal's database is so large that I could pick from a stock of people within minutes.
That when your phone rings that somebody needs a kidney, you have a donor waiting.
Exactly right. That's the goal 5-10 years from now.
How do you make that happen?
by building our donor base to 10, 12, 13,000 people. And I think it's very, very, very possible to do. Right now, we're doing I traveled. I was just in Panama a couple of weeks ago to go help a lady with a case. She had a son needed a kidney. It was a very, very sad case. It warranted a flight to Panama because this lady, her husband needed a kidney. And 2 weeks before we were making an event for her husband here in the States to find a kidney for him, he had a heart attack and he died.
Oh.
And then a few months later, she found that her son needed a kidney. She said, I can't go through this again. Can you please, I can't go through this. I can't lose a son. I just lost my husband. And so I felt it was important to go out there to give her chizuk. And when I got there and I met the chief rabbi of Panama, he goes, listen, you're not just meeting this lady. We have a few other people that need to meet you. And I came back with 9 cases in 3 days. So we know that there's people out there that need help, not just in America, not just in Canada, not just in Israel, throughout the world, whether it could be as far as Czechoslovakia, Germany, could be anywhere.
Right.
Could be anywhere that they need us. They just don't know about us yet. And in those places where they don't have a renewal out there, they have the same hope that somebody had over here 20 years ago, which is no hope.
Right.
No hope.
So practically, is growing the database just a matter of PR and, brand recognition, people knowing that you exist? Or is there a boots on the ground effort?
It's definitely a boots on the ground effort. And how do we grow the database? When someone needs a kidney, we make an event around that person. And then when you make an event around that person, you attract 200 people, 300 people.
So Ruvain needs a kidney. So we go to Ruvain lives in Queens. So we go to Queens and we make an event inviting the community of Queens to come get tested.
Right. We make a big splash about this guy, Reuven. He's a father of 7. He's got 12 grandchildren. He's a dire need of a kidney. If he doesn't get one, he's not going to live too much longer. Come help save Reuven's life. We'll make it in the shul. We'll make it in a hall, wherever we can attract many
come get as many swabs as possible.
People come and they swab. If we're swabbing for a child, a 2 or 3 year old child, we could get 500-600 people at a time.
Right.
Now, some people only coming for the child, so I can't put them in my general database for anybody else. I'm coming for this kid. If I match the kid, I'm good. If I don't match the kid, I'm out.
Wow. Is there that distinction at the time of the swab?
On the form that they fill out, are you coming exclusively for this person, or do you want to go in the database and match anybody?
Wow. So people need to, if somebody is volunteering to potentially donate their kidney to Ruvain, they check that box. But if they want to be kept in the database, if somebody else comes up in the future where they're a match, they check another box.
Right. So Initially, I would say, back in the day, people were coming for people. As the word gets out that you could do this, you could live a normal life, and there's no side effects. I don't take any medication.
Right.
There's no, if I want to have a scotch today, I don't drink scotch, but if I want to have it, doesn't affect me. That goes through the liver anyway. But there's no downside. I play ball almost 3 or 4 times a week. I'm actively playing sports.
Baruch Hashem, you're in good health.
Baruch Hashem, there's no downside. I mean, you got to stay healthy. You got to drink a lot of water. You should eat the right foods, but nothing less than anybody else would have to do. But people come for people in the beginning. Now people see, we'll go to a neighborhood. We came back from Baltimore where we honored, I think, maybe 20 donors from Baltimore. Baltimore started 1 donor. 1 became 2, 2 became 4. And we did an event honoring these people. And sure enough, we had another 300 people say, I want to be like them. If he could do it, if she could do it, if my friend could do it, why can't I do it?
So there's the donor engagement after they're donating their kidney in the form of an event of honoring them.
And then once a year, we make a Shabbaton for all the donors.
Wow.
A huge Shabbaton. We go to Connecticut, we take over the whole place. And we got to see some of these pictures that we have 400, 500, 600 people that all have 1 kidney. They gave their kidney to save someone's life. It's such a chizuk. And then they go out, they're charged up, and they tell their friends, and they get more dollars.
And they're in a Shabbaton in a fun, wholesome environment with people who have gone through what they went through,
and sharing stories and so on and so forth.
What is you mentioned the $6 million, closing in on $6 million to grow this database and to grow the day-to-day operations of Renewal. That budget can become $10, $15 million in a heartbeat.
Very easily. If we can step it up to do 250, 300 transplants a year, then that's for sure. That's what the budget's going to be.
What does the fundraising conversation look like? I would imagine it's not as simple as, we're growing we're building a yeshiva, we're building a mikveh. It's a
whole different conversation.
It's a different conversation.
I speak in a lot of different shuls. I do my fundraising, especially through the supporter community. That's where 90% of the fundraising comes from, is from my community. And that's how Renewal really took off when I got involved. And it was an easy sale for me because I'm a kidney donor.
Right.
I'm talking to people. I'm not just talking. I walked. I did it myself. So when I speak in a shul and I'll give them a story of someone that a little later was on the brink of death till we found the kidney for them, and they'll hear it, and I tell them how fortunate they are that they're on the other side of the fence. And I said, you have two choices. Actually, I said to them, you have three choices. Number one, you give me a kidney. Number two, you can write me a check. Or number three, you can tell me, Yasher Koach, Chazak Baruch.
There are two more things that I'd like to cover. You mentioned that today, literally today, there are three transplants happening.
Yes.
This was months and months, if not more, of preparation on both sides, on the sides of the donor, of the recipient. Walk me through a little bit of the prep on both sides, how that actually transpires and where Renewal plays a role there.
Well, when we have three transplants, you got to the end of the game. I mean, the end of the game is when the kidney's in the person.
Right, but as far as you guys are concerned, this is a win.
What did it take to get to these three transplants? How many donors did we have to go through that we took through the process, through all the evaluations, and then they came out at the end of the day disqualified? So now we could go through sometimes 8, 9, 10 donors, do this over and over and over again at our expense. The recipient we don't tell the recipient anything. We don't tell them, oh, by the way, we're taking another donor today and we'll keep you posted. Because they're excited, and then you call them back next week.
That's got to be crushing.
You can't do that. So they have, and it happens to be something that recipients complain about until they understand the reason why we do it. But like they'll tell us, we don't hear a word from you. We don't know what's going on. Then all of a sudden I get a phone call, we're matched. Right. Why don't you guys tell me what's going on? Because if we told you what's going on, you'd be going through an emotional roller coaster. It's impossible. Right.
The average donation goes through how many applicants?
I'd say at least 6, 7 people.
Wow. They wouldn't be able to handle that.
Yeah,
I mean, their life is on the line.
It's an emotional roller coaster.
Right.
We got a guy. It didn't go through. We have a guy. It didn't go through. We found a lady. Fell apart.
So the months leading up to this, what does that look like on the donor's end?
On the donor's end, well, he's being prepped for his evaluation. It's a little bit nerve-wracking. One of the biggest challenges we have is the spouse.
For sure.
That's more than diabetes, more than having kidney stones or having kidney failure in the history of the family, is the spouse. A lot of times the guy says, my wife just won't let me do it. I can't do it. She won't let me do it. And I want to do it. But the wife would say, my husband doesn't let me do it. They're afraid. I mean, I don't know what they're afraid of. We have women that are afraid they're not going to be able to get pregnant again. And we've seen time after time that women that were not pregnant got pregnant if they donated their kidneys. I want to get married first. We had this young lady. She was 19 years old. She donated a kidney. No, she was 21 years old. She wasn't married. And she came to meet her recipient at an event that we had. And she spoke for a few minutes what it meant to change her life. And she said, people came up to me and said, why would you do this? You're not even married yet. And now you have these scars on your body. Why would you do that for? And I said, scars? I don't have scars. I have beauty marks.
Wow.
These are beauty marks. And she's right. If this would tell somebody, this is the wife you'd be marrying.
The selflessness
of a person. It's unbelievable.
What would you like to see in an ideal world? I'm sure that you encounter a lot of pushback. You know, people have a finite amount of money and they want to put it where they can see the most return, or, you know, just like any investment, you want to invest in where you will see a return. You want to donate to something that will garner a return. That conversation, I mean, I'm sure that, you know, God put you in this world and he gave you this responsibility. That can't be an easy one.
Right. So when I speak to people, I say, I'm not asking for money for R&D. I'm not telling you, you know, I might have a cure for 25 years from now. I can take care of kidney failure. I will have a cure. I said, we're doing it today. Every dollar you're giving me is saving someone's life today. Not in 20 years from now. Maybe it might work. We're going to get FDA approval. We'll see what's going to happen. It's happening today. I'm having three transplants today.
What are the numbers on these 3 transplants, if you don't mind me asking? Ballpark.
What was it cost us?
Yeah.
If it's a local transplant, if it's being done locally, it's about $20,000. And if it's an international transplant, it's about $26,000 per transplant. That's only for the expenses to make it happen. You have to understand something also. When we're doing transplants, we're doing it on a generalized format. We're not telling people, you got to come here. Like I explained to you earlier.
Right.
And we're not just dealing with one hospital. Right now, we're dealing with the top hospitals in America, whether it be Northwell, Columbia, NYU, Mount Sinai, Montefiore. These are top recognized transplant centers. They open up the doors for us because we did all the work. They're just performing the marriage ceremony. We did the dating, the shadchan, we bring the people match.
Just officiating.
Just officiate the ceremony.
Right.
And it's a big ticket for them. A transplant is a very big ticket for a hospital. They really value what we bring to the table. And they can't believe it. What a Kiddush Hashem it is. Jew after Jew after Jew walking, giving up their kidneys. Person's going under the knife, giving a vital part. He's not giving a thumb, a pinky, a vital part of their body that without that vital part of their body, something can happen to them.
Right.
And the reason why they're doing it is because they have to.
The relationships that you touched on between all these hospitals is, I would assume, of great importance to Renewal. Maintaining that relationship, making sure that when you call the CEO of Cornell or whatever the hospital is that you mentioned, they know who you are. They answer the call. They know that you.
Cool. And we've called them if we need to pull a favor on a different case. Let's say we have somebody that's there with a heart issue or different type of blood disease. We have connections to make things happen.
Does that advocacy happen beyond the kidneys?
Yeah, for sure. That connection does happen. Yeah, we were on a first name and on a cell phone basis with all the surgeons, all the transplant center surgeons. They all know us by first name. We deal with them on a daily basis. I mean, they see us almost every day.
And the level of respect that they have for Renewal.
Tremendous. Tremendous.
They
The
know
level of respect that they have for the Jewish community is tremendous.
the Kiddush Hashem is
It's unbelievable.
it's Jews creating matches between Jews and Jews who want to just save a life.
Correct. And we've had Duke University come do a study on us because they wanted to do this in other communities. We had a very big pastor, I forgot his name, from an African-American community, because yes, you should know kidney disease affects African-Americans, I think, 2 or 3 times more than regular white people for some reason. I'm not exactly sure why. But he came to us. He said, I got to do I have to do this in my church. I have to. I have to save people's lives. Can't get it done.
Wow.
And then there's a basketball player currently that needs a kidney. His name is Nate Robinson.
Wow.
Nate Robinson played for the Knicks 2 years ago. He's a three-time
The slam dunk champion.
Not even Michael Jordan can say he did that.
Right.
Nate Robinson.
He's a little guy.
He's a little guy, 5'9". Nate Robinson. He's pleading for his life. You can Google it. Pleading, I have 2 years left to live. Somebody, please, give me your kidney. Please, cry. He happens to be a very, very humble guy. If you watch I watched him make his plea. God bless me. He gave me a great career. I had a lot of fun. And if this is the way it ends, this is the way it ends. Please, somebody, please save my life. You would think that somebody I want my kidney, not me personally, but I want my kidney to be in this guy.
Right.
Wow, I'll own him for the rest of his life. He's got to be grateful to me forever. Nobody's coming through. Nobody's stepping forward. And I tell people, if his name was Nathan Rosenthal, he'd have a kidney in months.
That's remarkable.
You can't pay enough to be part of this cloud. To be part of Klal Yisrael.
It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
Let's close it out with something that you'd like to tell our listeners, something that they might not know, or something that you would like them to know about Renewal if they don't yet.
Okay, so something they need to know is that Renewal is there for everybody. And unfortunately, this disease, this life-threatening disease, can affect anybody. We've done 2-year-old children and try to find a match for a 2-year-old child. Somebody's not coming with their 2-year-old and say, oh, I heard you need a kidney. My little Moishela will give you his kidney. If you buy him a toy, it's not happening. So children are probably the most difficult cases that we have. And we've done about 10, 15 cases already for children. Anywhere from children, 2 years old, we've done cases as far as 86-year-olds. That's the gap, from 2 to 86. And 86
Lifetime
is a world record. We broke the world record at 82. Then we broke the world record at 83. Then we broke the next world record at 85. Our own records, we're breaking our own records, and 86.
An 86-year-old patient getting a new kidney. Is that what that number is?
Yeah, a recipient.
A recipient.
Right. So some people will say, why would you want to waste a kidney in an 86-year-old person? Give it to somebody else. I said, what if it was your grandfather? Right. Would it be a waste? If it was your grandfather, would it be a waste?
You can get another 20 years of Zaidi.
Let him go for another 10, 15 years. Why not? Let him live another 10 years. Another 10 years of putting on tefillin. Another 10 years of the same brachas, whatever it might be. Let him live. Let the guy live. We have people that come to us, find me the oldest person on your list. I want to give to him because I know he's got no shot. I want to be the one to give to him. So I want people to realize that this is a disease that can infect anybody. Nobody's immune to it. We've had patients that come to us. All I did was I went to my regular physical, gave a urine sample, I did some blood, and they told me I'm having kidney failure. I can't believe it. I can't believe this is happening to me. From where? I feel good. Nobody's beyond this. And unfortunately, some families, we've done families because there's a disease called PKD, polycystic kidney disease, which is hereditary. And we've done families, 10, 12 people in a family that we've done. Aunts, uncles, nephews, in the same family because it was hereditary, it was passed down, and we've tested some of the children, and we know in the future they're going to need. Imagine where these people are going to go. A family of 10, 12 people that got kidneys, you're not going to find this in the world. The hope that we give them. But we're not only giving hope, we're giving life.
All right. And you actually deliver.
Hashem has given us the capacity to do this. We really have found it's all from Shemayim. But Hashem has made us the messengers to fulfill this. And we feel so chosen. I have people come to you, he said, you have the luckiest and the best job in the world. All day long, you're seeing miracles. Every case is a miracle, how it happens, how people met, how we found a match, how, I don't have time for a quick story, sure, but we had a lady that needed a kidney, and she was told, she went for a blood test, regular blood test, annual physical, whatever it might have been. She went to the doctor, and they got the results, and the doctor says, I think you should come into the office, we need to talk. And her husband came back with her. He goes, no, I think you should bring the whole family. She has 11 children. She comes back to the hospital with the doctor with 11 children, and what's going on? Goes, it's a bad situation. What do you mean? What's bad? We got back your blood work. You are in need of a kidney. Your creatinine's at this, your GFR's at that. These numbers are out of whack. And due to your blood disorder, you're probably never going to find one. There's maybe 300 people in America that match you. Maybe 300 people. If 330 million people in America, there's maybe 300 people that match you. And out of those 300 people to find the match, and now they have to donate, to want to donate.
Literally 1 in a million.
It's not happening. It's not going to happen. What should I do? You're going to go on dialysis. I'm just want to enjoy whatever life, a little bit of life you have left. There's nothing to do. Well, there's one organization, Renewal, that's the only one that can really help. But even for them, it's impossible. She calls us up. The husband calls us up, devastated. Can you help my wife? Can you do anything? I said, forget what the doctor said. We have our own database. We're going to find your wife a kidney. She comes in. We get the blood work from the hospital, her HLA, all her antibodies. We cross-match her against our entire system. Not a match. Impossible. We don't have one match for this lady. Run it again. Not a match. Okay, we told her, don't worry. We're going to find it. We're going to make an event for her. And we had 120 people that came to test for her. For sure, we're going to find a match. Not a match. One day he calls me up. He says, my wife just got back from dialysis, and I can't talk to her. She's devastated. Life's over. She's going to die in a machine. He says, AJ, can you talk to her? I said, sure, put her on the phone. She picks up the phone. I say, Claire, what's going on? She goes, AJ, I'm not going. I can't do this anymore. I'm not going to live like this. There's not a way for a person to live. I hate that machine. I'm surrounded by people that are dying. I can't live. I said, Claire, if you stop going, you're not going to give us a chance. You got to give us a chance to save your life. First of all, we have 11 kids. Let those kids cry out to Hashem. To Hillel, reading, crying, praying. We only need one kidney. Claire, I don't need 6 kidneys. I need 1 kidney for you. There's a kidney out there. We just have to find it. You got to go back on that machine and stay on that machine till we find it. She said, I'm going to go back, but I want you to promise me one thing, AJ. I said, anything you want. She goes, promise me You're not going to let me die in the machine. I said, Claire, you're asking us a lot. You're asking for a lot. I could promise you I'll try everything. I'll do everything in the world to find you a kidney. But I can't make that promise. Hashem, at the end of the day, Hashem runs the world. I'll do everything possible. We're at another event for somebody else in Lakewood. Another person needed a kidney. A handful of people came for that event. One of those people matched her.
Wow.
One of those people matched. Just need one match and hope and pray. We have Hashem on our side and everything else.
And that story has a happy ending?
She had a kidney.
That's amazing. You really do have the best job in the world. Do you believe that?
I truly believe it, yeah.
That's incredible.
It's a gift. I don't know what I deserve it. Zechut avot, whatever it might be, from my father, my grandfather. But somehow Hashem put me in this position and I'm able to do the best I can.
Amazing. AJ Gindi, representing Renewal. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
I hope that you guys found something inspiring. I certainly did. And we'll see you next time.
Thank you.
Shakal.